Cutting off the dog's ears. Historical reasons now prohibited. Cutting off your dog's ears, in other words performing an otectomy, is a once popular practice that is now prohibited. Indeed, it was customary to cut off the ears or the tail of certain breeds of dogs for reasons above all practical or aesthetic. If this operation is now illegal, it is interesting to understand the historical reasons and to become aware of the consequences it can have on the health of our dog friends. Why were dogs' ears cut off? The historical reasons for a questionable practice. When talking about otectomy, you should know that this practice was only widespread in certain areas and for certain breeds of dogs only. Indeed, it was customary to cut off the ears of dogs intended for combat, guard dogs or so-called utility dogs. This practice was explained by the fact that the ears represent one of the weak points of the dog. Animals exposed to combat situations tended to be regularly bitten or injured in the ears. Sensitive and painful, they bleed a lot and their recovery can be long. Trimming dogs' ears limited this risk of injury and made them less vulnerable to attacks. The owners of these dogs justified the operation by the desire to protect the safety of their animal. Today, otectomy, otomy or auricular chondromy, is prohibited in France. Working dogs have now become pets in their own right, rendering the practice obsolete. On the other hand, some owners still perform it, despite the fact that this operation is strongly criticized. Some breeds of dogs in particular still include the cropping of the ears in their standards today. On the other hand, guard dogs can look more menacing with cropped ears. Due to the illegality of this practice, it should be noted that dogs that have undergone this procedure cannot be sold. They cannot participate in a dog show or a dog show and they can no longer be registered with the Louvre. Anyone who does not respect the law will be forced to pay a fine. How is the dog otectomy performed? Otectomy is performed on dogs with semi-droopy ears to allow the uncut part to stand up. This is a partial resection of the pinna of the ear. This operation does not take place at any time. It is generally practiced between the 2nd and the 4th month after the birth of the puppy, before the definitive breakage of the cartilage is carried out, and under anesthesia. Depending on the breed, the ears are shortened by 1/3 or 2/5 and there are several cutting techniques. If the otectomy is prohibited for reasons of utility or aesthetics, it can of course be practiced by the veterinarian when a dog is injured in the ear and this solution is essential for its good health. In this case, the operation is not illegal. The consequences of otectomy for the dog. If this practice may have seemed useful, even aesthetic, it is nonetheless an amputation that affects one of the dog's communicative sense organs. The ears are very important for the animal, because they serve him to communicate and they allow him to hear what is happening around him. The sense of hearing is essential for dogs to reassure themselves, identify their environment and locate themselves in space. Performing this operation on animals aged 2 to 4 months does nothing to prevent the stress, fatigue and intense pain it causes. Done poorly, it can quickly become infected and lead to much greater suffering and numerous complications, even to the death of the animal. What are the dog breeds with traditionally cropped ears? It is easy to recognize a dog with cropped ears. These are permanently erected on his head and can no longer fall. This practice being intended above all for utility and guard dogs, only certain breeds were concerned. We can cite in particular, Beauceron, Le Doberman, the Shepherd of the Pyrenees, Briard, Bouvier de Flanders, the Pitbull, the Boxer, the Great Dane, the Schnauzer, Le Pinscher.